Hi everyone, today we are going to have a look at our experiments that we've been running, or hopefully you've been running as well as I have been, in regard to looking at germs. So remember last week we did two different experiments. The first one where we used the water and I put some pepper in there, and then we did the finger test where we put it in without the dishwashing liquid, then we put it in with to see what would happen with the germs. And then what we did is we then did the experiment with the bread. So we had our germy hands and then we rubbed them all over a piece of bread and put them in a Ziploc bag, and I stuck one to the window, and then the other one I washed my hands really, really well with detergent and body wash, whatever you call it. And then I put another piece of bread into a plastic bag as well and stuck it to the window as well. So hopefully you've done the same experiment at home and you have got the most weird and wonderful experiment creation growing at your house, because I know I have, and I have creeped out everyone in my family. If you haven't, I'd like you to keep watching because I want to share some of our findings with you. And even if you did do it at home, I'd like to share what you came up with compared to mine. All right, so hold on tight. All right, I am showing you what I've had stuck to my windows for the last couple of days, or a few days, and I'm going to try and go and zoom in closer. Have a look at the one that we have, or I put my hands, or my germy hands all over it. Check out that, and we're going to pull it out of the bread in a minute, but can you see the plastic bag? Because I had it on the window, we got a bit of condensation, or the heat from outside. And it's done the same thing on the no germs bag as well. All right, so hold on tight. I'm going to pull them out of the bags with the tongs because I don't want to touch this creepy experiment, and we'll have a bit of a compare. All right, guys, what I want to show you now is a bit more of an up-close video of our bread experiment. So last week we investigated whether we use germs or no germs and to see what would happen over time, okay? And this is why I picked this activity, is because we are in lockdown at the moment, and I'm sure your mums and dads and things tell you all the time to be washing your hands and not to be touching things, and why we might be wearing masks at the moment is to prevent this type of growth of germs. So let's have a look. This first one I'm going to touch because this is a fresh piece of bread from the bakery. All right, so you have a look. It's nice and soft, like our skin and things like that, isn't it? You can pull it apart. It's still yummy, even though I've just ripped it all apart. Okay, so then that's the first one. Now I want to go to the one that's got the no germs. Now I really don't want to be touching this one because really it has been stuck on my window, even though it's in a plastic bag. It looks kind of okay there. I'm going to flip the bag over. Doesn't look that nice on this side. So let's have a look. So have a look at that. So what do you think that is there on the top? It's actually damp because it's got the condensation, which is the water has formed in the bag. Remember when we did those science experiments at Easter? And have a look on the edge of my bread. I kind of wish I went and bought white bread now to really see the difference. But can you see that green mold that started to form? So it's showing, even with washing our hands and being very, very safe, we can still pick up the odd type of germ. And germs can still form even though we're trying to do our best to avoid them. All right, let's compare now to the really, really, really gross one, the germy one. All right, have a look. So yes, you can see the condensation, the wetness in that bag. Can you see all the mold growth on there? I'm going to flip it over, see if I can get it closer to the camera. If you actually look carefully, you can see all different types of bacterial growth forming. Look, there's a red one and a white one and the black overall mold. And there's a bit of a funky mossy looking one on the edge there as well. All right,
So it's showing that when we're not being very careful, there are lots and lots of germs that can be all over the place, aren't there?
All right, so what I'd like you to do now is hypothesize what would happen if we put those experiments back in the bags and put them on the windows for a little bit longer. Do you think the one that we had the no germs would end up with the same amount of bacterial or mold growth that the germ one did? Do you think it would eventually catch up? Or do you think the one with the germs would just get super moldy for a lot longer? What do you think? Okay. What I'd also like you to do is, if you did this experiment at home, I would love to see your findings and see if they're just as gross and weird as what I've had happen at my house. And it would be interesting to be able to share our findings. And what do you think this is teaching us in this lockdown period about germs? So, you know, every time we go to the shops, or mum or dad go to the shops, or we walk down the street, we have to wear a mask. Why? Why does that relate to our experiment that we have just done? So I'd like you to share your findings and your photos and think about how we can change our daily habits for the future. All right, can't wait to see your findings and see if you've got some brain waves of how we can improve our cleanliness and how we can keep germs away as we move forward in this lockdown time in regard to COVID and things like that. All right, can't wait to see what you've come up with.